And we are live. What's going on, everyone's Talks with Kenny, episode 66 is live with Kenny. Sorry. I was held up, so I started a little bit late, but hey, who cares? So we're gonna start. I want to talk about today's topic of this episode will be about who's at fault for the state of politics, right? And I have some bulletin points that I wanted to discuss, and you can go either way. I would like to know your comments in the comment section. Who you think is most at fault for the state of current politics? Because right now it seems like we have a lot of people who want autonomy, but they don't want the responsibility that comes with autonomy, right? They want the freedom to make all the kinds of decision makings, all kind of bad choices, all kinds of bad decisions that leads to bad outcomes, but they don't want to be held responsible for the ramifications of making bad decisions. And a lot of this idea, I think, what keeps Democrats competitive, why people keeps falling over the allure of socialism, is the idea that they can have all ultimate freedom without the responsibility of owning up to the ramifications of the choices they make. For instance, on this live stream, I'm gonna go through financial YouTubers and some minutes of people making bad financial decisions, and then expect somebody to come and save them out of their mess. And this is where the appeal, the allure of socialism come from. So there's four people you can hold at fault for the current state of our politics, right? The education system I have as my number one. If you've been following this channel for a long time, I wholeheartedly believe is the education system. There's a big reason why many of us, many people, many voters, American, imagine this: you're voting in a country, and many people who are voting don't have a deep understanding of how the government actually works in our country. That should be a disqualifier right there. Imagine people who don't know how the government works. They think Kamala Harris can just institute abortion nationwide, knowing full and damn well they can't actually do it, but they're voting for Kamala for abortion, right? The second people I hold accountable, and you can let me know your list, is the voters themselves, us. It's our own fault that we get the politicians that we want, right? People love to complain, oh my God, we got to choose between two bad candidates. I see it all the time online. People complaining about, oh, this is a reality show. Well, it's our fault. It's our fault as Americans. Because I bet you, if at least half of the voters, the American voters, was moderately politically informed, do you think Kamala Harris will be competitive in this race right now? Hell no. Just based on policies. And I'm going to show you, right? Just based on policy, right? And the third culprit I hold in the main, they're the biggest reason I believe. It was tough to make this list, but you can make the argument for any one of these people who are responsible for the state of our politics, the education system, American voters themselves, the media. My God, the media. The media is biased. The media is pushing a perception. The reason why Kamala Harris has such a high approval rating right now is because of the media. Because the media cover her in a favorable light, because 97% of US journalists are Democrats. A lot of the the employees of major corporations in the United States donate to the Democratic Party. So if they have any tie-in with information, it is pushing a view favorable towards the Democratic Party. And last but not least, the government. I believe the government is like the chicken or the egg problem. What came first? And I honestly believe the government itself is intentionally making people dumber, because when I look at shows that used to be in the 60s, 70s, you used to have a lot of these debate type shows. Nowadays, our political discussion is full of this um glamorized, dramatized headlines trying to get your attention, no substantive debates, no substantive discussion. And that's coming back, obviously online. And this is why I say, yo, we should trust the social media more than the TV, right? Majority of Americans believe the US is in a recession and most blame Biden. But they say it's false, right? The media says it's false. They're wrong. Americans wrongfully believe that the U.S. is in a recession. This was made 2 months ago, just to let you know. American says, "What's up, my fellow countrymen and women? I appreciate you for the chat." And this is some of the crud that we have to deal with too. So you can make the arguments, but as we go through the video, I'll document different points on. I'll be touching upon the four pillars that I believe is responsible for this, because Malcolm X, right? If you follow my channel, I listen a little bit of Malcolm X. I am not a pro-black. I'm a pro-American. But my arguments, what I agree wholeheartedly with what Malcolm X said. Malcolm X said the media is the most dangerous I forgot who he said, is the most dangerous entity in the world. It can make the guilty innocent and the innocent guilty. And I want to like there's nothing stronger like to make this point than what the media has done, because media is my prime attack. I feel like they're a close second. So let's rag on the media a little bit. It's not Trump versus Biden. I'm sorry, it's not Trump versus Harris. It's Trump versus the media, right? So as you know, Vance was pushing on this idea that hey, we should have child tax credit up to $5,000. The media makes it seem like, oh, this is unattainable, this is undesirable. They cover it negatively. Harris does the same policy proposal except $1,000 more, and they cover it in a favorable light. Donald Trump brings out his tax on tips. They complain how much money it will lose the government. Kamala Harris comes out with no tax on tips, and they spin it in a favorable light. So it goes back to this point that Malcolm X has made in the 60s. The media is the most dangerous entity in the world. It can make the policies look good and the policies look bad because they control public perception. And it's just baffling to me how much in the pocket the mainstream media seems to be for the Democratic Party. But who's to blame them? The Democratic Party, 97% of US journalists are Democrats. So we're going to focus on the media today. So Scott Jennings, CNN, they're, ever since Kamala Harris came out with her price control policy, they've been really criticizing her. And I want to give you guys a shot at watching the video, and then I'll give my response at the end of the clip.
Doing and will continue to do and will ring true to voters is continue to point out that all the conditions in the country that Kamala Harris is complaining about with inflation, high rents, cost of living, that's all a direct result of the policies that she and Joe Biden implemented. So that's number one. You have to lay the blame where the blame goes, and it's right at her feet. You cannot allow her to pretend as though she is disconnected. Number two, he needs a clear message on her plan. I mean, this is if you want product shortages, if you want black markets, if you love bread lines, if you love hoarding, and if you like, I don't know, communist style anarchy on the streets of America, this is the plan for you. This is not a serious plan. This is a set of pandering from someone who has no idea what they're doing and doesn't want to take responsibility of the problems they've caused. She wasn't merely a bystander. She cast votes that caused the inflation. You can't trust her to fix the inflation. That'll be the message that Donald Trump runs on. And I think the American people already believe that. So it ought to be pretty easy to sell.
I mean, where no lies were told, right? I go back to the Guardian article. Most Americans 2 months ago believed their economy was in a bad shape. Now those speculations are more true today, right? And it just goes to show that in this equation, there's multiple factors that who's at fault for the current state of politics. But it's a blended point where Scott Jennings brought up, hey, you want bread and circus? Hey, this is just a bunch of pandering. Hey, these political policies have never worked throughout every time, every attempt it was tried. Now, whose fault it is? I put this on the American voter on this one. Because if you know price controls have such a long track record, this should have tanked Kamala Harris's approval rating the minute she rolled out this policy position. But it hasn't. Why? The mainstream media hiding her, covering for her, right? But I think American, because end of the day, I always make this argument about the media. The media controls the distribution of knowledge, right? This is why they're in such big favor of censorship, because they do not want people like me to distribute this information that I know onto the masses, right? God forbid I go viral. God forbid a video gets more than 20,000 views. It'll be hectic because they can't let people educate themselves. And this is where I say I put it on the American voter, because we live in a time where we got Google, right? You have, like, imagine this. The founding fathers would have killed for something that would have gave them access to as much information as Google give us now. And what do we do as American voters? We watch mindless entertainment on it. We go on TikTok. We spend 6 hours, 8 hours on TikTok for some people, right? We go on YouTube. We looking to be entertained. Not you all. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're a politically minded individual. But we are not most Americans. I'll say on a good day, us here on this live stream right now, we represent about 33% of the population of America that's actually informed about politics, who's actually watch politics day to day, like a sports analyst. I'll say about 33% of the American population. That means the rest of the American population can be easily deceived by the media. And the media knows this. This is why they don't like covering. This is why I talk about the media bubble. And the media bubble is proof about um Kamala's bubble that she's in, and this is why she don't want to take interviews, because she knows if she looks bad on the mainstream media, it's gonna go across the board to all the other 66% of Americans that are not tuned in day to day to politics. But enough about me. We're gonna let Kamala speak on her own behalf, because this is her rolling out her speech, and many people are not liking what she has to say. I haven't watched it yet because I was too busy trying to bring the clips together. But I do what I have heard is she went full commie in this little 38-second clip. Let's take a look.
As president, I will take on the high costs that matter most to most Americans, like the cost of food. We all know that prices went up during the pandemic when the supply chains shut down and failed. But our supply chains have now improved, and prices are still too high. A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%. As president, I will take on the high costs that matter most to most Americans, like the cost of food. We all know that prices went up during the pandemic when the supply chains shut down and failed.
Did she repeat herself? I think she repeated herself.
But our supply chains have now improved, and prices are still too high.
Remember when the Democrats and the mainstream media told you that inflation was transitory? I'm telling you, I don't know who's at fault for our state of politics, but the more I keep thinking about it, I think it's the media. But the education system is supposed to arm you to think critically, to be able to question framings, views that are presented to you by the mainstream media. So it's like this with me. It's like, but the media is definitely a close second. I think I remove, but the American voter, we have to be like the American voter. It seems like us as Americans, the education system had made learning such a chore, such a drag. We associate negative feelings with learning because of homework assignments, learning information that we don't find practical or useful in our day-to-day lives, that it almost stunted the intellectual curiosity of many people in our society. And this is one of the reasons why I personally want to homeschool my kid, is because I want to protect that. I want to protect my son's intellectual curiosity. I want to maintain my child's time where he's using it to learn useful things that he can use in his day-to-day life. I want his education to be more practical, not theoretical like our current education system is. But I digress. I didn't mean to veer off topic. Let's listen to what she has to say.
A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%. As president, I will take on.
Oh, sorry. I was repeating myself. But make it make sense. Wild to me that Kamala just admitted ground beef and bread was up 50% since she and Biden took office. She wants to rehire. You want to rehire her to fix the mess she completely created? Absolute insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Just in, Kamala has proposed elimination of medical debt for millions of Americans. Now, let's put our thinking cap on. If the voters decide to vote I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she says she wants to eliminate medical debt, a smart individual, someone who's educated, right, self-taught like me, because I taught myself all this information. School didn't help teach this. We need a political literate class, or a literacy class or something, a policy literacy class. What the hell would happen if the government just randomly forgive a bunch of medical debt for millions of Americans? It's something we're experiencing right now. You guys know. Let me know in the chat what will happen if Kamala Harris goes through with her proposal and eliminate medical debt for millions of Americans. What's going to happen? It starts with the I, inflation. So you're going to propose a policy position to help. It's a circle, guys. Right? We dealing with a lot of debt right now. Like not a lot of debt, but we're dealing with a lot of inflation right now. Then she's gonna propose a policy, an economic policy, where she's gonna eliminate millions of dollars of medical debt using government money to pay it off when government don't even have enough money. Like they don't have discretionary income to pay it off, cash money. What they're gonna do? Print more money. Printing more money will cause what? More inflation. You're gonna make the problem worse, right? All input costs are still up. Retail groceries make sense on each item. If she gives first-time home buyers $25,000, homes will immediately go up $25,000. You have to implement productivity or supply to reduce the money. This is economics 101. Yes, this is a good point by Jay. My argument here is the education system. Who's supposed to teach us this? Isn't our education supposed to teach us? Like, we don't have a lot of, and it's gonna go to my point because it's this is why I say I have a tough time laying the blame 100% on one thing. Right? My 4 points. If you're just coming in, good morning, Scotland, Scorpion. Education, the American voters themselves, the government, and the media. My top 2 right now is education and the media. Because if we had a good education system, everyone will know what are the limitations of the government, what the government can do for you and can't do for you. That's the education point. The media is supposed to distribute knowledge throughout the populace, because 66% of Americans are influenced by the media. Because I make the argument, I'll say about only 33% of Americans are tied into politics like us. Right? Like, you'll go in, check the news. All right, let's see what Fox News says. Okay, let's see what MSNBC says. Okay, let's see what CNN says. Not a lot of Americans will do that. We're the minority here in this country. But the majority of the country, the silent majority, the uninformed majority, right? They're the centrist majority, the silent majority, whatever. They passively gain news. If you're passive, what happens? You're more susceptible to what? The media narrative. Oh, I heard, Trump don't talk about policy. All he talks about is how Kamala's not black. You're not paying attention. Trump always talks about policy. It's just whenever he veers from policy, the media wants to only focus on when he's not talking about policy, right? Trump and JD Vance can be talking about 95% of the time, can be talking about policy, but the 5% they end up talking about something other than policy, the media is going to hone in on that and projecting and say, oh, this is all they talk about. And if you're a passive viewer, like 66% of Americans are, you're going to believe that narrative because that's all the mainstream media is saying. Oh, MSNBC said the same thing. CNN said the same thing. Was another left-wing news website. ABC said the same thing. Morning Joe said the same thing. All of them are left-wing websites. But the normie is going to be like, oh, that's 4 different sources. They all can't be lying. And this is the game the media plays. No, I think I agree with Malcolm X, man. I think it's the media. Malcolm X said the media is the most dangerous entity in the world. It can make the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. It can make an embarrassment of a candidate, Kamala Harris, who 4 years ago didn't even make it to the first round of primary voters, the primary vote. She dropped out before the first round of votes for the primaries. She went from that to now being some iconic figure on the Democratic Party. All because of what? The media. No, I think it's the media. Let me know who you guys think. If you're watching this on the replay, let me know who you guys think. Who's at fault for the current state of our politics? Because people are going to complain about the fact that we don't got good choices, we don't get good candidates, we don't got smart politicians. Well, if you create an incentive structure, this is where I start going at us as American voters. The incentive is, hey, Americans vote for people who they like the sound of their policies. Okay. So the Democrats, the Republicans, they're going to tell you what you like to hear, because the American people don't even know what is a feasible policy and what is an infeasible policy, right? Democrats and politicians, and this is Republicans too. This is me being unpartisan. I'm being unbiased here. A politician's only motive, this is me being rational, a politician's only motive is to get elected. If getting elected was, hey, solution driven, actually doing what you say you're going to do, you reward that. Positive reinforcement. You learn this in psychology. But if the process of them always winning is, hey, let me put a policy position that's desirable, right? And even if it doesn't sound good, oh, Medicare for all, I'm going to eliminate medical debt for all Americans. That sounds desirable, but how feasible is that policy? And this is one of the reasons why I end up becoming a conservative, because I start understanding that just because it sounds good doesn't mean it will actually do good, right? Just because it sounds desirable doesn't mean it's actually feasible. What is likely to happen? I wish I could make everyone a millionaire, but I don't got billions of dollars to throw around, so it's unfeasible for me to donate and make everyone a millionaire because I know I have limitations. I know I have finite resources, but the government pretends it doesn't. So it makes these big promises, these bold promises. People who are not informed about the feasibility of these policies fall for it. And this is how you always end up, socialism always end up becoming popular, especially with the young crowd, because they're naive, they lack experience, right? This is where I blame the education system, because the education system's job is to teach the young, hey, this has been tried before. Look at the history of stuff. You're supposed to be informed, right? Because you learn as the young, you learn from the old. Okay, these old people tried it. The Soviet Union tried it. It causes shortage. It causes drop in qualities. It causes businesses to run away. It caused an incentive where businesses were giving us worse and worse products because of the fact that the government forced it to be cheap. This is bad economic policy. But now you're going to have the Harrison fans. Kenny, we finally got some policies. Kamala finally said policy. And now when we debate on the policies, oh, you won't know until it's been tried. It has been tried. Look at Rome. Look at Germany. Look at France. They tried price controls already. It ain't going to help. It's not because corporations are greedy. And this is the funny part. Government will create the problem, then pretend and lay the blame on the corporations. Oh, the corporations are price gouging. No, corporations like, yo, we got to pay more for this product. So to turn a profit, we got to raise the prices. Jay says, appreciate what you're doing, Kenny, with these podcasts. It's an iceberg of idiocy that can only be chipped away in ice cubes. You can't shatter their foundation in one hit. It's the government and media. However, it's supposed to be the check on government, not a collaborator. 100% education is root cause. Because end of the day, and we'll get into CNN, because even CNN couldn't go with the buffoonery here. But before, I want to go on this that quote from the statement from Jay made me remember something that I listened to or heard about education, is that they say that if you're self-taught, right? It's a Frederick Douglass quote. I forgot the quote, but I'm paraphrasing here, but it goes like this. A man who can read is forever free. And the concept is that if you're intellectually curious, no one can pigeonhole you, right? Because this is a problem with the education scam. I almost call it education a scam. This is why I have my problem with college, is the fact that it has a curriculum. And everyone's just trying to get through the curriculum. And it's very narrow-minded. It narrows you down to only focus on these subjects. And many people, after they graduate college, they don't read a book ever again, right? So they lose that capacity that drive to learn new things or to be educated on something. You get trained in a model in education system, and we can go into the conspiracies of how the Rockefellers created the education system, how the education system is meant to create workers, not entrepreneurs, not leaders, not thought leaders. It was meant for you to, how well can you regurgitate information? That's pretty much what you're being taught. If you got a good memory, you have good grades, high scores, you breeze through college, right? Because it doesn't take much critical thinking to regurgitate information. A grade system is pretty much, how well did you repeat back what I taught you? Okay, good. That's all education system is. Right? So then when the media comes out, oh, the media said this. Our education system, and this is why I think I agree with a lot of conservatives when they say college is not about education, it's about indoctrination, is that college and education system has hardwired into many people to trust people of authority of a certain status. Oh, I'm a journalist. This is why I hate credentialism. Oh, I got a degree in journalism, therefore I'm an authority figure and you got to listen to me. You got to defer to me. I'm an economist for CNN, so if I say the economy is actually good and the economy is in good shape and Americans are just falsely believing that America's in the economy is in bad shape, you're wrong, America, because I'm a financial journalist. Nah, my pocketbook tells me that I'm struggling right now. I can't go out and eat as often as I could. Financial economist, explain that to me. You're not going to sit here and use your authority, your perceived authority, to tell me, to check me on something. This is why appeals to authority is a logical fallacy. Just because you're an expert doesn't mean you can't be wrong. Experts been wrong about a lot of things in recent memory. Hell, even COVID, they were wrong about COVID. Oh, if you get vaccinated, you won't spread COVID. The people who got boosted, double boosted, triple boosted, seem to always get COVID. I thought it was supposed to stop COVID. I guess the experts was wrong. The experts were ignoring natural immunity. Like, come on. This is where I blame the media. But I digress. I went on a little rant there. But here's CNN really laying an egg on Harrison's economic plans. Let's take a listen.
Catherine, I read your piece and I heard you just mention it. The federal ban on price gouging for groceries. You are skeptical of this. Why?
Well, first of all, nobody can explain what price gouging means. It's like that old line about pornography. I know it when I see it, in the sense that what does it mean to have an excessive price or an excessive profit margin? That seems to be shorthand for a price or a profit margin that bugs me. That seems too high.
And price gouging reminds me of the same concept of taxing the rich. Oh, like there's certain people who are a big favor of communism, socialism. They'll say no one should be allowed to be that rich. Well, don't you benefit from Amazon? Don't you like Amazon Prime? Don't you like the audiobooks? I forgot the name of the Audible. I think Amazon owns that. No, I might be wrong. Do you like Amazon Prime? You like the fact that you get your products at a click of a button? You like all that convenience, right? Shouldn't you pay the person who thought of this idea and who had the plan to actually execute on it? The socialists always talk about, oh, the workers is what made the plan go, but what about the person who created the plan? Because in a day, your workers won't be able to do anything without any direction. And this is the argument where a lot of socialists fall on their face. You want to tax the rich, you want to take all the rich their money and all this stuff, but if it wasn't without them creating the environment, without them coming up with the concept, without them leading the workers towards a particular path that created the Amazon that you built today, Amazon wouldn't exist. Oh, you couldn't have built Amazon without the workers. If I take all the workers out, could Jeff Bezos find another pair of workers and get the job done for Amazon? Yes. If Jeff Bezos doesn't exist, could the workers create Amazon? No. That's the point. This is why they hate private property, bro. It is crazy to me. But I'm done rambling.
It's very hard to pin down what this would actually mean. If you look at the legislation that, as I mentioned, is already in the Senate, led by Senator Warren and Senator Bob Casey and a slew of others, the particular way that this is written, which is likely to be the template for any proposal that Harris would eventually embrace, is especially bad in that it just bans excessive prices, grossly excessive profit margins, and says that the Federal Trade Commission can use any metric it deems appropriate to decide what that would mean, which basically says, like, it's not going to be markets, it's not going to be supply and demand that's determining how much your grocery store charges you for milk or for eggs. It's going to be some bureaucrat in DC, which seems like totally unworkable, first of all, for the FTC to be deciding like how much Kroger charges for eggs in Michigan. But it also would be very bad for markets. We've seen this kind of thing tried in lots of.
It takes a lot. Like, imagine CNN is shitting on the proposal that Kamala Harris came out with, right? Elon Musk even knows this, right? And this should be common knowledge. Like, This should be like civics 101. Inflation is caused by federal government spending more than it earns because they just print more money to make up the difference. Because we already at a deficit. Don't we already start off with a deficit? We already start off at a negative. We're about to pay, I believe, $1 billion. I forget the number. $1 billion in interest payments for our national debt. To solve inflation, reduce wasteful government spending. Your tax dollars should be spent well, not poorly. Kamala Harris, she has, as someone in my in my chat just mentioned, Jay Byrne. I hopefully I said your name right. When he brought up the idea of she wants to offer first-time home buyers $25,000, right? Democrats always want to talk about affordable housing, right? I'm about to debunk this stuff. This is a book I'm getting the information from, Economics, Facts, and Fallacies, Thomas Sowell. As you guys know, I'm a big Thomas Sowell reader. And we're going to talk about housing. The biggest economic fallacy about housing is that affordable housing requires government intervention in the housing markets, perhaps with subsidies, rent controls. Ooh, that sounds like what Kamala Harris is trying to offer, or other devices to allow people with moderate or low income to be able to have a decent place to live. Now, 2008 was caused by this kind of thinking, right? Because when Bill Clinton was president, and I did my history, when Bill Clinton was president, Bill Clinton actually went after banks that denied black people loans because black people complained and lobbied and said that, oh, these banks are denying us loans because of our skin color, because of racism. And Bill Clinton wanted to run on the idea that, look how much home ownership has risen under the low class because of me, President Bill Clinton. So he set the DOJ, I believe, on banks, and banks was like, all right, fine. Here, have the loan, have it. This was in the 1990s. This is why some people think it's actually Bill Clinton's fault that we had a bad economy in 2008. But the Democrats like to blame who? Bush. They love to blame Bush, but it's actually Bill Clinton who set him up. All right. So Bill Clinton let these people have bad loans. As you know, the lending standards was not as rigorous as it is in 2024. So people who didn't have verification of income, I think they called it ninja loans, no income, no job, and they still gave them the loans because there was this idea that, hey, real estate will always go up and it will forever go up, right? It'll never go down. So banks felt pretty confident giving money to people who had no proof of income and no net worth. So here you go. Here's a ninja loan. So a bunch of black people got it. And then when 2008 happened, all those black people lost it. And they lost more wealth. Like, imagine this. 2008 was very hard on the minority groups, but they put themselves in a financial hole in the first place. Because imagine, if you were denied the loan in the first place, you would not be in so much debt. You would not be in bankruptcy. You would not be in, foreclosure. It would have been a less hit on your wealth if you were denied the loan in the first place. But the fact that Democrats wanted to give you what you want because they wanted to look good, they let black people who statistically have lower credit scores, lower income than most other races of people who apply for loans. So they're going to be what? Delinquent. They're more likely to be delinquent lenders. Delinquent borrowers. They get in 2008, hard times come. They're not able to keep the house because the house was too expensive. They didn't have the money in the first place to maintain the house in the first place. But they stopped the banks from doing their own thing. This is what happens when government intervene. The government thinks they know what's best compared to the bank. The bank's like, yo, you got you have a 400 credit score. You got a high debt to income ratio. You don't make enough money to actually cover the payments. You can't afford this loan. I'm not giving you money. Government put a gun to the bank's head. They say, you better lend them that money. That's a black man. How dare you deny a black man a loan for housing? This is discrimination. All right. Banks let them get the loan. 13 years later, after 1995, you F yourself over in 2008. Now you're in debt. Now you're in bankruptcy. Now you're in a worse financial position than where you started from before you got the house. And then, the same people who went and they were like, I can't believe banks let us why did the banks set us up like that? Look, this is the funny part. The people, when they got denied the banks denied them the loan. They say, oh, it's because I'm black. Because of racial discrimination, banks are denying black people loans. Banks give them the loans. Then when the shit hits the fan in 2008 and they lose the house, guess who these people blame? They don't blame the government. They didn't blame Bill Clinton who forced the banks to give them the loan. They blame the banks. They're like, hey, there should be a system in place where
it prevents banks from loaning out loans to people who can't pay for them. Why? Oh, you don't say. And this is how people get caught up in these problems. And this is why I think our education system should really be teaching stuff like this. When it's civics 101, they should take a case study. Hey, class, look, this look. That's why I say I'm gonna homeschool my kids. I'm like, hey, class, do you think everyone should have affordable housing? Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the arguments for why that's not the case. And you lay it out and you give a test study. Look at 2008. Look at 1995. I wish people made civics more engaging, because how they teach civics, they make it so unengaging. People don't even want to take the time to actually learn it. But I digress. We're talking about affordable housing. Ruinous price. Oh, sorry. We was at rent control. Other devices allow people with moderate or low income to be able to have a decent place to live without paying ruinous prices for homes or apartments. Ruinous prices for housing are certainly a fact of life in some places, leaving people of moderate or low incomes with inadequate amount of money for other things. The question is whether government programs offer a way out of such information for most people. The idea that government intervention improves the situation is a notion which has been repeatedly innumerable times in many ways, but endless repetition is not a coherent argument, much less proof. When we turn from political rhetoric to hard facts, we found that those facts tell us a story directly opposite of what's being said in politics and in much of the media. It is precisely government intervention in housing markets which has made previously unaffordable housing unaffordable. Both the history and the economics of housing show this. This is what you should be learning in physics, in civics. This is why I like Thomas Sowell, because Thomas Sowell mixes economics with politics, and I noticed that a lot. There's a big correlation between like economics and politics. I don't understand it, right? Jay makes the argument, what is worse is that all the extra demand by unworthy credit buyers create false demand on the housing market, which leads to a falsely inflated pricing. This is why it's all collapsing. Exactly. This is why the worst thing the government can ever say is, I'm the government and I'm here to help, right? But it's just baffling to me that like this is the state of our politics, right? We got a lot of people who are looking to be bailed out from their bad decisions, right? But I want to hammer in just one more thing. So the media is the most dangerous entity in the world. We all can agree to that, right? And here's why the media is so dangerous. This interview, allegedly, if I remember correctly, this interview was done 2011. 2011, they did this interview. It feels like a parallel universe. Joe Rogan was the one that unearthed this. He really made this viral online. And it's look at these people. These some of the biggest Trump haters. You got Joy in there. You got Whoopi in there. And see how they look at Trump just 13 years ago. I was 14. No, how old I am? Damn. This is what happens when you get past the age of 25. You forget your age. I am 28 years old right now. So I was 15 years old when this video came out. Didn't care nothing about politics. I was just out here playing basketball, minding my business. And this is how they treated Trump.
Donald Trump.
What? Yo, I need somebody. These celebrities, they lucky they don't go on podcasts. Because if I was Joe Rogan and I had Whoopi, I would have played that clip. I'd be like, okay, what happened, Whoopi? I found out he was a racist. Watch what Trump says and tell me in the chat or in the comment section if you're watching this on the replay. Tell me if Trump is saying anything differently than what he's saying right now in 2020, 2016, and in 2024. Tell me if he said anything different than what he's saying in this video right now.
We're so happy to have you. Whenever you're on with us, we're very happy.
Oh, we love it.
Okay, so I'm going to take you at your word that you have not decided yet when you're going to run, but you're thinking about it, and you've expressed some of your views, which are controversial and in many ways, yeah, but
not to her.
Well, not to her. Okay, you're a Republican, but let's say that you do decide in the spring, right? And your ideas resonate so much.
I think the country is doing so badly, they want somebody that's going to help it. I think the country has never been in a position like it is right now. It's being ripped off by every nation every intelligent nation in the world, whether it's China. They're taking our jobs, they're making all our product, and then they loan us back the money, we pay them interest.
That is
whether
crazy.
it's OPEC, which is, I mean, they're having a field day right now. How about the Arab League? They say, we want you to go in and attack Libya. These are the wealthiest countries in the world. Why aren't they paying us?
Okay,
Why
so
aren't
then they change their mind.
And then when Trump says, hey, if you don't pay, if Russia invades, hey, I'm going to let Russia invade. Oh, no. Craziness. The media is the most dangerous entity in the world. The more I look at this video, I'm like, wow. He's saying the exact same stuff. He ain't saying nothing different from 2016. He's not saying anything different from 2020. He's not saying anything different from 2024 right now. But the reaction is different. And that's what the media controls. Media is a perception machine. They're trying to condition you. And this is one of the things socialists always know. Because Lenin said this best. He said, if you repeat a lie often enough, people will believe it to be true. And the media, this is the real power the media has. Because of the fact that they can attack different multiple angles, push out the same type of narrative and framing, they get people to believe in the perception. Shout out to Dance with Incels. He says he's sorry he's late. Trump was one of the largest financial supporters of Jesse Jackson's president campaign. But he's racist. He's racist, right? Look, this I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix the quote, because the media is so dangerous that it can make the racists not look racist and the not look racist. Make it make sense. I hate to say it, but I think Trump is going to lose. With early voting and the Vance pick, we're going to endure another 4 more years of Obama. I'm more optimistic, I guess, than Dance with Incels here. Because honestly, I think Trump changed his position on early voting. I think he's encouraging early voting. Turning Point USA, which is like an outreach group, Charlie Kirk, you guys know I like him a lot. I have a video ready to queue up for this live stream as well. I think we're making a big push. JD Vance is not as bad as I thought. Sure, but I honestly, Dance with Incels, I think the you see the media narrative, right? We know majority of Americans, they listen to the media, but I think that's for the more of the older demographic, right? But I think the debates is going to decide it for me. I think the debates, how people react to the debates, I see a lot of things that gives me optimism. As you just saw today, I did 2 videos about black liberals, how blacks are openly just seeing the problem with their own eyes. Like, no amount of media narratives can ever dissuade what people are seeing. People are seeing, black people especially, are the most mad about the illegal immigration. And the Democratic Party kind of needs the black vote, at least at an 80% clip. My argument is, look, I'm not looking to get half the black vote. I'm just looking for 20%. Can I get 20% of the black vote to go for Donald Trump? That's all I'm really asking for. But hey, if we lose, I might as well go down fighting, right? Hey, if we lose, I'm like, look, I put out I don't know how many videos this year going at Kamala Harris, talking about how Kamala Harris has no policy. And when she does bring out policy, I point out how bad the policies are, how bad the policy's been tried. End of the day, America, I'm gonna include myself in this. If America elects Kamala Harris, it's our own fault. That's why I said, who's at fault for the state of politics? I gave 4 people I keep repeating it, but people are just coming in. There's four factors. There's 4 places of blame I place on the state of our current politics: the media, education, us American voters, and the government. Now, the government is the core source of all this problem, because before the Department of Education, we had the number one education. After the Department of Education in 2008, our education was 24th in the world. So the quality of our education went down, even though we spend more and more money on education. Make it make sense. How we get a crappier product, the more money we spend. This is why the government is not efficient. This is why the government is not good. Jay says that I am an optimistic also. Vance is pretty smart overall, but I think Tulsi would have been Trump's best choice. Apparently, Tulsi is giving Trump debate tips. She's helping him prep for his debate with Kamala Harris. So, I mean, she's a part of the campaign in some level of fashion. I wouldn't be surprised if she got a campaign spot for helping Trump with his debate prep with Kamala Harris. So, I'm still optimistic. I'm a wait and see kind of guy. But I'm gonna give this 1 more minute and then I'll move on to the next segment.
You didn't answer my question.
No, I did answer your question.
I
really
think it
people.
won't matter.
I think maybe 10 years ago it would have mattered. 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The fact is, I think people want somebody now that's going to protect them and protect this country, because we're not going to be a great country for long if we keep going the way we're going right now. I'm thinking about it very strongly. I think I'd do a really good job. I think I'd protect this country like it's not being protected. You know, it's funny. So many of the things I say, now politicians are saying, hey, that's right. Why don't we, why aren't they paying us? If you look at North Korea, South Korea, we're protecting South Korea. They're making a fortune. Let's call it hundreds of billions of dollars of profit on us. We have 25,000 soldiers over there protecting them. They don't pay us. Why aren't they paying us?
You'd be treating this like a business.
No, a business with heart.
Okay.
Believe me, there's a lot of heart.
I mean, they seem more reasonable. I wish if The View had stayed the way they stayed here in 2011, I think it wouldn't be so hard to watch them. It wouldn't have been so hard to watch them. But these people, bro, it's like they got a chip in them. Boom, hate Trump. We must hate Trump because he actually won 2016. And now ever since then, it's been off the rails because they realized, damn, we lost perception. People are able to hear this guy. They're like, yo, that Trump guy made a lot of sense. And he still makes a lot of sense. But the media keeps repeating their framing of their neck. Because if you look at research, I think it was like 87% of media coverage on Donald Trump is negative. Trump derangement syndrome is a created problem. It's not because, like, end of the day, like, if you ask someone who has big Trump derangement syndrome, hey, what the hell did Trump do to you to make you hate him so much? Oh, he's a racist. How he's a racist? They can't give you concrete examples. Oh, this person said that that's not proof. As one of my commenters pointed out, Jay pointed out, he donated to Jesse Jackson's presidential campaign. He got the reward from the double ACP. The minute he ran as a Republican, all of a sudden he's racist. Narrative. The media, man. Hey, the media is a close second. Now, I'm going to focus on education on this next segment. So I found this interesting video. You know, I was at work, you know, zoning out with my headphones. And I was like, oh, 28 minutes of insane financial decisions. Now, I'm like, Kenny, don't watch it. If you watch it, Kenny, you're going to get mad. You're going to get annoyed. And I watched it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm annoyed. So my argument here is that this is eerily similar to politics. I don't know what's going on with our culture. Like Andrew Breitbart said it best, politics is a downstream of culture. And if this is the state of our current culture, I see why Dance with Incels could be pessimistic, right? Now, I ain't going down without a fight. Like, end of the day, we're going to try to help these people make better decisions. But literally, the current state of our politics is accumulation of all the decision-making made by America, current generation, past generation in the past. And the current state of our nation, the current state of our country, the current state of our political machines, the media, is all due to previous decision makings that were made in the past. And until we understand that, and I think as Americans, until we take ownership of that, I don't think any real change can happen. Because I think Donald Trump cannot change the country by himself. The American people themselves need to help him and be right behind him to change this country. This is why I think that information is so important. This is why I think that the left loves censorship, because they don't want alternative views to be expressed. Because my argument is you cannot be an informed voter unless you have both sides of the issues able to openly express their points of view. Because this is how we get into echo chamber. This is how we get led to the slaughter. Censorship leads people down to the slaughter. And Kamala Harris is a big reason why. Oh, why she's not taking questions? Why she's not taking interviews? Because she wants you to believe in this imagination, this narrative that the media has created for you. And you must believe that because they're credentialized. Look, these are journalists. This is why they get so mad when you call them propagandists. But I digress. We're going to watch 28 minutes, not the whole 28 minutes, but there's going to be a few clips that I want to talk about the bad decisions people make. And this pattern that I'm noticing in our culture where a lot of these people, they make these irrational choices, these irrational decisions, and they don't understand the ramifications of the decisions they make. And I think this kind of culture is actually a part of our politics, right? You got black people who voted for Biden, are complaining about Biden, and now they thinking about voting for Kamala Harris. Like, make it make sense. You voted in Biden. Biden gave you the worst inflation rate in 40 years, and now you're going to vote for his VP, who hasn't shown any accomplishment at her current role, where you make you think she's going to do anything different in her role as president, because she gives you a charade of economic policies that is shown to actually make the problems worse. But you want to elect her because she's going to be the first black woman. Emotional. This is why I say emotional decision making is hurting our politics. And this is where I blame education, because they focus on social emotional learning, how you feel. F how you feel. It's what you know. And I think this is the core of our decay in our education system, because we focus so much on self-esteem instead of self-control. And you're going to see it. That perfectly encapsulates exactly what we experience in our culture. Our culture values self-esteem versus self-control. Self-control will say, hey, I made the decision to be $75,000 in debt. I have to pay it off. That's self-control. Self-esteem is like, oh, why do I have to pay this $75,000? It's impossible for me. I don't know why I'm always in these debt problems. Someone come save me. Save me from my problems that I put myself in. I digress. Let's get into the video.
$75,000 of student loan debt. Say the degree one more time.
All right, study Shakespeare.
No, you can't. Income that came in was $1,600. Rent is $12.
Girl math.
That's your. Why does he go to a private school?
Because it's. Do you want to get into the educational system right now?
Okay, a little. I'm just asking, why does he go to the private school? It's a question.
Oh. So today we're going to be watching some videos that'll make us all feel better about ourselves and our financial situations, our financial decisions, because you could be a multimillionaire and be absolutely perfect with your money, or be having a tough time right now, not really being able to afford the cost of living, or just barely making it work right now. But
yeah, most people making, I think it's like 48% of people making six figures live paycheck to paycheck. This is all about discipline. Like I said, self-control versus self-esteem. Self-esteem is like, oh, no, I make a six figures. I got to flex in a new Lambo. Sorry. I got to flex in a new luxury car. And then when issues the fan, you lose your job. Oh, my God, I have so much stress. I'm losing so much money. I don't got any savings. And you lose it all because people don't want to live below their means anymore. And this is a bad part of consumerism. Consumerism is really killing our culture, right? Everyone wants to flex. Everyone wants to be superficial. They want to put stuff on Instagram to show how wealthy they are, right? They want to buy the latest and greatest items. My phone here is like 2 years old, I think. I'm never into the, oh, I need to get the latest gadgets, keeping up with the Joneses. This is the state of our, but this is what people are doing. Oh, I'm gonna vote for Kamala Harris because she's a black looking woman. She's a divine nine. I'm gonna keep doing that voice because that was hilarious. Stop it. She gonna get voted in, sworn in by the first black Supreme Court justice. This is the kind of emotional ish that people do. And you're gonna see that same kind of pattern in here with these people in their financial decisions. I digress. Let's get into it.
The people we're going to be watching today have put themselves in such an unbelievably terrible financial situation that it's almost impressive how bad they are with money. Now, we're going to be checking out some of the guests that Caleb Hammer has had on his podcast style videos. Now, if you don't know who he is, he's a really big, I guess you would say, financial YouTuber. He makes very long form podcast style videos going over everybody's financial situations who end up getting on the show. And we're not talking about the people who will start working at McDonald's and expect $120,000 a year salary. We're talking about some of the people who actually don't know what the word debt means. It seems like they're almost making it up just.
That was crazy to me. This is why I got pissed off, right? Because in this video, I don't think I'm gonna get to this far into the clip because I'm already getting, and I'm getting close to the hour mark.
To get a.
But there's a girl, the one that said girl math. She didn't know what debt was. She thought, oh, as long as I don't touch the limit, I'm okay. It was like she thought debt was cash. Like cash someone gave her. Yes, you heard that right. Hey, shout out to our education system.
Attention, but there's no financial gain for these people. They just go on to try to fix their financial situations. We're going to be going over some videos and some comments, so leave your comments down below and I'll pick some of them out for the next video. We'll just start off with this guy being $45,000 in debt.
This is a lot of student loan debt for associates.
Yeah.
Total across the board, $44,585. Past due. They'll garnish your wages. This is debt to the government.
I didn't know. I didn't get a notification.
What did you go to school for?
I got an associate's degree in paralegal studies. And then I started going to school for my nursing. And
Oh my gosh, this is sick.
Self-esteem, right? Oh, he want to brag. I got 2 degrees in 2 different job fields. Yeah, but self-control says, yo, you gotta, you didn't even stay long enough in that previous degree. Like, what are you doing? Right? This is why college is a scam. Like, to me, this is my personal thoughts. Maybe you guys can agree, disagree. I don't like that's you guys let me know. But I'm not gonna rush my kid into going to no college. I'm like, yo, look, I'm doing the immigrant way. But you know, my mom told me when I got to college age, hey, there's only 3 things you could be. Actually, I think it was 4, but the most I remember is you either be a doctor, engineer, or a lawyer. That's it. That's what my mom told me. Exactly like that. Because she wanted practicality, right? But follow your passions. That's self-esteem. Self-control is, hey, find a job field that you like, that is practical, there's high demand for it, it's going to give you a good standard of living, and then you can do your passions as your hobby, right? I have a passion for soccer. I have a passion for sports. I have a passion for basketball. That's my hobby, but I'm not going to go be a basketball YouTuber. You understand what I'm saying? And this is the self-esteem culture we follow. We got people making rash decisions. Like, I'm going to quit my job to go be an influencer. What are the probabilities of you making it as an influencer within a couple of months? But these are the same people that's going to be voting in our elections. Think about it. Dude didn't even finish one job career in associates. He had an associate's in paralegal studies. Then he went on to be a nurse. What is this guy doing? Aimless, just wandering around. And then he's going to complain about student loan debt, that he's going to lobby the government to go forgive it, when he was the one who made those choices. No one put a gun into his head and say, you better switch from being a paralegal into going into a nursing school. But he's going to cry and complain about him being $44,000 in student loan debt when he made those decisions. But he don't want to hold the responsibility for that. And this is how socialism becomes so appealing for many young people. Because they see it as a get out of jail free card, but it's not a get out of jail free card. It's gonna make all of us suffer. Joe Biden already forgives. I don't know how much money in student loan debt, but student loan forgiveness contributed 27% of the inflation that we're experiencing right now in 2024. So you're trying to make the inflation problem worse because you selfishly want to be absolved of the bad decisions that you made. This is the state of our politics today. This is where I start pointing the fingers at the American voters themselves. Because I'm like, yo, you should know better. This is the results of self-esteem culture. If we taught people self-control, hey, if you're not sure about what you want to do, go do some research. Don't go into debt. Don't rush into going to college until you understand what you want to do. You got to be intentional when you go to college. But that takes self-control. Self-esteem says, oh my God, this is the sororities, those hot sorority girls. I want to go to college for the experience. I want to take it like a 4-year vacation. I'm going to just take any degree. And then when I graduate, I got no job prospects, like the lady in the intro that talked about, I got a degree in studying Shakespeare. You went to college debt for Shakespeare? I could go buy a book. I can go buy Shakespeare books and learn Shakespeare on my own. I don't need to go 27, 40, 100, 6 figures in college loan debt to learn about Shakespeare. But you got women out here pulling degrees for that ish. That's worse than the basket weaving degree. At least you're able to do something. She literally paid 6 figures in student loan debt just to read about a guy in history. Make it make sense. But this is the kind of decision making that our education system is producing. And you wonder why you got people who are scared that Kamala Harris can win. Because when you know there's people like this on the prowl making bad decisions like this, what's to say they won't make a bad decision electing president of the United States? And you wonder why you don't get better qualified candidates, why you don't get smart politicians. You only get politicians that tell you what you want to hear, that sell you a dream, lie to you. I digress.
Career path.
So,
dude, it's crazy. You're in a career for 2-3 years and then you're on to the next.
No discipline.
Good.
That's self-control. Self-control says, yo, I shouldn't be jumping to degree. If I want to do something, I gotta be consistent. I gotta do my time. Because end of the day, you learn to love something. It don't just happen. This is why they say don't follow the practical advice is don't follow your passion. Follow what you're good at, and then you become passionate about it. Because usually passion comes after the fact, not before, after. But this man, he has a discipline problem. He don't stick with anything longer than 2 to 3 years, and he jumps to something else that puts him more in debt.
I'm done.
You're almost in the 400 credit score range.
Look how bad, yo, bro. Look at the dude. Look at the dude's face. Look at the reactor's face. That's how we all gonna be if Kamala wins. We're gonna be like, who voted for this lady? I'm legitimately scared, bro. This is why I say, yo, I told myself I shouldn't watch it. I shouldn't watch it. I watched all 28 minutes of it, and I was like, damn. I see what people who are more pessimistic see. Because if you're making this about you, your own personal decision making, you know what's in your head. You know your economic, you know your salary, you know your pocketbook, you know all this stuff, and you willfully put yourself in this position. Bruh.
Oh, been forever since I've seen something like that. Like literally the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
You're going to finish nursing?
Well, I haven't fully committed yet.
No discipline. No discipline. Literally, I honestly think it takes discipline to vote for Donald Trump at this point. Your feelings tell you, oh my God, he got such, I don't like his personality. I don't think he's Christian enough. I don't think he's pro-life enough. But what your pocketbook says though, this is why people can't be practical. Because to be practical, it takes discipline. I have not fully committed to being nursing. You're going into debt for this. How are you not fully committed? You fully committed to pay those loans back? No, because he think Joe Biden gonna bail him out. And that's the effing problem. He want to protect his ego. Oh, I'm doing okay. I'm not doing that fine. I think the reason why these financially illiterate, these financially irresponsible people go on this dude's show is because a part of them want him to pat him on the back and say, "Oh, it's not that bad." I think that's what they're waiting for. Ridiculous. I'm gonna stop being irate now.
So, I mean, this dude has like absolutely blown my mistakes out of the water. I've talked about it a couple times. By the time I ended up dropping out of community college, I was $21,000 in debt, but he has more than doubled it and apparently has gone to 6 different career paths. That's why he was racking up debt right there. I mean, after like the third one, you got to know that like this is just almost a lost hope. I don't know how you make those kind of...
No personal responsibility. These guys making mistakes, like he's making choices, he's making decisions like he expects someone to bail him out of his problems. That's the problem we have in our culture. That's self-esteem culture, right? Self-esteem, oh, your mom, oh, you did great, little Jimmy. Even though you didn't score a goal, even though you didn't make a shot, even though you made a lot of mistakes, you were perfect out there. As long as you do your best, self-esteem. Self-control be like, hey, look, you kind of sucked out there, son, but you can get better. You're going to practice those shots. You're going to make those kicks. Right? Here's what you can improve on. It takes self-control to be able to take criticism. And this is why I say my kids are playing sports. I don't give a damn. I don't care if it's chess, soccer, basketball, they playing a sport. Because sports is a perfect environment to instill skills and get them used to adversity, setbacks, things not going their way. So it's a good teaching moment. So you can go in there and say, hey, look, you're mad that the coaching's not giving you playing time? You have to earn playing time. The same way you have to earn a promotion. Earn that job you want in the field. Learn about how to be competitive in a field. You have to apply yourself. How you say you want to be a starter on the soccer team, son, if you're not putting in the time to get the skills needed to be a starter. You teach them the concepts and the importance of hard work. But we don't have that in our culture anymore. All we have in our culture is the education system that social emotional learning. We need to protect the kids' feelings. And you see why I'm a big hater. I'm honest. I'm the biggest hater of gentle parenting. I think if you gentle parent, you're the most negligent parent I know if you gentle parent your kid. That's how much of a hater I am of gentle parenting. Because it enforces behavior like this crap. Oh, I don't want to hurt my son's self-esteem. That's part of domesticating your kids. You know that, right? You know that kids at under the age of 6 think that they're center of the world, right? And you're supposed to burst their bubble and let them know, no, the world is just more than about you. The world doesn't revolve around you. You do know that, right? You do know that kids have that. Does gentle parenting break that? No. And you wonder why these kids come up entitled. Why millennial parents like me are getting blamed for the disaster of Generation Alpha. Because we got all these millennial parents going for trends. Oh, I'm a gentle parent. I don't want to hurt my son's feelings. We want highest self-esteem kids. You know what instills huge confidence in children? That they know that they can handle setbacks, that they can handle adversity. They know how to get right back up. That's what instills confidence in a kid. Self-esteem is so brittle. Self-esteem is like, oh, I believe I'm good. You never play soccer in your life. How you could be so confident that you're good at soccer? That's not confidence. That's arrogance. And this is what self-esteem culture has done. Oh, I'm not doing that bad. Girl math. I'm gonna let this play out. I'm getting, you know, you hear it. I'm getting aggravated because I'm like, yo, these people can cancel out my vote. I made an informed decision to vote for Donald Trump. Agenda 47. I got more substantive views for why I vote for Trump. And this guy like, I want the first female president. Wipe my vote away. And I'm like, but hey, look, this is what we're working with. So what I did, hey, I got all this knowledge. What a waste if I just keep it all to myself. Let's talk about it, right? But
decisions, and being a 400 credit score, that means he just doesn't pay off anything ever. I don't even know how he has a credit line at all. I mean, you could see some of the comments, 45K in student loans only to finish community college. I mean, if you're a pretty good student and didn't go to a super expensive college, you could be in less student debt and actually get a full bachelor's degree.
Only if you have personal responsibility. Only if you have personal responsibility. If you don't have personal responsibility, they don't see that. Oh, I wasn't told that. Did you look for the information? No. Okay, it's your own fault. And they didn't want to get bailed out of their problems. This is why I say socialism is for the lazy and the entitled. I digress. Now we're gonna get to the main star of the show. The person I'm talking about, she coming up right now.
Episode. It is only going to get worse.
You can't afford to go out.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't. Income that came in was $1,600. Rent is $12.
Girl math. She spent 80% of her income on rent. And she thinks she can go eat out. Bro, I see why the founding fathers originally wanted landowners to vote. Because this is some insanity. I see why democracy. Who was against Aristotle? I see why Aristotle was against a democracy. Look, I'm optimistic, okay, but damn. Oh my God. I'm traumatized, guys. I'm traumatized. Look, I can't wait for the weekend because on the weekend I shut off social media. I don't go on Twitter. This is how I stay sane doing 5 days a week of political content. But this is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Oh my God.
Girl math.
That's your. This is not a joke.
I'm not treating it as a joke. I mean,
girl math. Math says it's about 80% of your income.
Reality.
Yeah.
Reality. No, that's reality. That's not math. That's reality. Reality is you can't afford to live on your own. Right? And these are the single. Imagine, look at her. Can you guess her politics? Can we guess her politics? What are the odds she's a conservative? I give it 2%. 2% chance she's a conservative. 98% sure she's a liberal. Progressive liberal. She put herself in these financial situations. Oh my God, no one can afford to live out here. Who's she gonna run to? Her parents? No, because she gotta protect this facade that she's a strong, independent woman. Where's she gonna go to? The government. And you wonder why single women vote 66% of the time for the Democratic Party. This is if Kamala wins, it's because of people like her.
And you bought $1 of Apple stock?
Yeah, I tried. I genuinely didn't know what it was, but I've heard people like opening stocks and like getting more money and being successful with it. So I was like, let's try it. And I got 96 cents out of it. So I use a lot of girl math. I use a lot of like
feelings. That's all I heard. Girl math is code for I felt like doing it, so I did. Without taking in consideration the long-term ramifications of my choice. And this is how people are going with politics. I did a live stream before. Emotionalism is ruining politics. Nothing ever gets done with your feelings. Next thing you know, they're going to say girl politics. You voted for Kamala Harris because she was a woman and you thought she was like your cool aunt? Yeah. Nothing ever gets done with your feelings, folks. Like making emotional decisions, then you try to justify it. Oh my God. Let me cast you guys a vision. Kamala Harris gets elected as president of the United States. Inflation goes throughout the roof. No one can afford groceries anymore. To combat that, she says, I put price controls. Conservative says that ain't gonna work. Food shortages hit the market. No one can, everyone fighting. Crime is through the roof. Theft is up. And then the girl right here sitting here, she's gonna be like, well, at least Donald Trump wasn't president. This is the kind of emotional ish that we dealing with, bro. We live in a scary time. Education matters the most nowadays. That's why I try to be as factual as I can. At least try to give as best of an argument as I can, just in case someone sees this and they're like, I'm curious about the conservatives and whatever. And I don't change people's minds. I just give you the information that I'm pointing to, and you change your own mind. I just give you the information. They say what? A good teacher is not an all-knowing expert. He's merely a guide. I'm merely a guide. I'm like, look at these, look at these examples. Look at this instance. Come on, bro.
First of all, that was a meme from like 2 months ago. The internet moves quick.
Yeah.
And second of all,
It's bad.
math is the real math when we're actually talking about your life and improving your situation.
But if real math doesn't work.
See, it doesn't work. You feel like it doesn't work because you don't work. That's the problem. You are the problem. But self-esteem says, no, nothing's ever your fault as long as you tried your best. Self-control be like, yo, all the bad things that happened to me, in some level, I played a part in putting myself in those situations. What can I do in the future to put myself in a better position not to be in those negative, bad situations? That's what a person who's raised in self-control culture will think about. Hey, I voted for Biden last time, and we got a bad outcome for that. Maybe I shouldn't vote for a Democrat again. Dude. Oh, well, Biden didn't work, but Kamala's different. She's a different candidate. What's her policy platform? She agree with everything with Biden? She doesn't disagree with Biden with anything? So what makes you think you're going to get something different? Insanity. I feel like these people are insane. Oh my God. Let's get back to the video, because we y'all need to see more of this foolishness. Y'all need to get as angry as I was seeing this video.
Then we transition to girl math and we use it to live.
Oh, your rent of what again?
Almost $1,400.
Okay, it's 70%. 70%. You cannot afford it. It shouldn't be higher than 30%.
I don't even know how these people would decide to go on his show. It's so embarrassing. I mean, people treating it as a joke and saying girl math just because they just spend whenever they want to. This is the same person. I don't believe I have the clip in this video, but I did watch a little bit more of the same girl on the show. And when she got a credit card from her parents, she just believed it was free money. So she had an $8,000 credit line and racked up $4 grand worth of debt, and she just thought that that was a good thing. Like somehow that was, I don't even know how you would process that that would be good. She actually did not know what debt was, and that you legitimately had to pay back that $4,000 on the credit card.
Honestly, I blame her parents for that one. That's her parents' fault. How you not teach your 20-year-old daughter what debt is? She's 22 years old. She thought debt was free money. Oh, I don't have to pay this back. Like I said, these people walk around who make these bad decisions. They're literally expecting someone to come and save them. What made me a conservative is the idea that, Thomas Sowell always talks about in his books. I forget which book it was, but it's stop looking for saviors, because no one can really save you from your situation. The person that's most likely to save you from your situation is you. So you have to take personal responsibility, right? Look at yourself and say, hey, how can I make better decisions? How can I not put myself in compromising positions where I open myself up to be vulnerable for bad things to happen to me? Hey, I'm in hard times. Hey, a recession might be coming. Maybe it's a good time to have some savings in place just in case I lose my job, just in case I get laid off. So that way I could persevere through the hard times while I try to figure things out. I give myself less stress that way. Let me build up some savings. Most Americans don't even have $1,000 saved in their bank account. And you wonder why people look at the government. You wonder why Democrats can get away with trying to promise voters the world. Oh, I can save you. I can bail you out. I can forgive your debt. Oh my God, yes, please. I got $20,000 in debt. Please forgive it all. People are becoming entitled because of self-esteem. And this is how the left deceive a lot of people. Right? Now, I've been bashing Americans, right? The education system. I think I touched everybody, right? I think everyone got it, because you can literally make a solid argument for who's at fault for the state of politics, right? Because it's like a chicken or the egg problem. We don't know what happened first, but all I know is the government sets the incentive, right? So we're gonna watch this video. This is a 8-minute video. I think I'm only gonna go about 3 minutes into it. And this is Charlie debating a brainwashed college student, right? Because I think we got too many brainwashed people who think they're more important than they really are. They're in an institution where the college, we already know the stats with college campuses. 12 out of every one conservative professor are liberal. For every one conservative teacher, there's 12 liberals. And if you go to an Ivy League college, 96% of the professors there, 96% of the faculty there are Democrats. These kids are being ideologically indoctrinated into a left-wing worldview. Oh, the government can do this. The government is essentially God. And you wonder why Marxists, communists, socialists, Kamala Harris is popular with the young crowd, allegedly. This is why what Charlie Kirk does is very important, right? It goes to dance with Incel's point, because these people are going to be voting. And I rather have them get their ideas challenged, because they're in an echo chamber. They're in a bubble where they're protected from alternative viewpoints. And YouTube, they allegedly they shadow ban people, they censor people. When y'all don't watch my videos, I just think I didn't put out a good video, right? But this is why the left likes to censor, because the left likes to deceive people into voting for them, to support them. When a tyrant wants to get into power, he doesn't say, I'm gonna force all my beliefs on you people. No, he goes, I'm here to help. Here, give me more control of your life, and I'll make your life better. Oh my God, look at you, you poor thing. You're in $50,000 in student loan debt. I'll forgive student loan debt. Just give me power. And people, a lot of irresponsible people, a lot of emotional people who is looking for someone to save them will make that trade-off. Because something in human history, and this is why it's very important for people to study history, is that history shows you that freedom is the exception. Being ruled over is the rule, right? People like because at the end of the day, it takes the responsibility off of them. In a way, I feel like people don't really want autonomy like that. Because when you have autonomy, that means you have personal responsibility. Hey, I want the freedom to do whatever I want. Okay, then you're responsible for whatever happens when you make those decisions. Oh no, I kind of want to be bailed out when I make bad decisions. Then you don't want autonomy. This is why a lot of people look at the government like their parents. Oh, I didn't know that student loan debt accrues interest. Bro, to me, this is where I blame the parents. I'm starting to blame the parents now. Because as a parent, I think I'll never let my kid go out into this world being so ignorant about how it works. Because as a parent, you're your kid's tutorial guide. You're supposed to be teaching your kid how the world works. But we've been conditioned by our education system where we are so dependent on the government, on teachers to teach our kids everything. We put our kids in daycare as soon as they're born, as early as a month, 2 months, 3 months old sometimes, depending on the economic situation of the mother. We treat our kids like commodities. We don't treat them like individuals, like human beings that's going to be adults one day. And it's sad. But I digress. I think I went on a little tangent there. So we're going to get into this video. We're going to go through, I think I'm going to try to go 2 minutes without interrupting it. Let's go.
You create a company that's like close to being a fascist, and then like,
okay, how am I?
Sorry.
Let's go through this. How am I a fascist?
Dude, like
Can you name one thing I believe that's fascist?
You believe that like you on. Oh, shit.
Don't boo. Let him think.
But
I'm such a bad fascist. I let the people who disagree in open mic to talk to me for 2 hours uninterrupted.
Okay,
I'm an awful fascist.
Sorry, I promised myself, but
This is how you get smarter people. Because when people get challenged on their ideas and they can't defend it, they realize, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. Hey, I don't know why I believe this thing. And they go back and reassess the information that they get or look for information that bolsters their point. This is how you get smarter discussions. This is how you get smarter voters. But you ain't going to get it until you get challenged. This is why competition always bring out a better product than cooperation. Competition has a function in our society, right? Because in my family, let's say we there's two separate sets of family. One's a modern family and one's a traditional conservative family, right? And both families have two boys. In the modern family, both parents are feminist. They're like, oh no, we're cooperative. We don't like competition. Competition's bad. We give everyone equal everything, equal distributions, equal toys. Everyone gets the same. If it's someone's birthday, they both get to blow out the candle. And in the conservative household, it's like, nah, personal responsibility. Hey, you're in charge of this. This is your task. And they have competition. The two kids who are competing against each other, oh, I got a better grade than you, all this, and they get different treatment based on their grades. Oh, son one got better grades than son two. I'm gonna give you a PlayStation. That's not fair. I don't get a PlayStation because you didn't do the work. You're gonna get the competition is gonna drive the kids to be better. Because people only want to change something when they are challenged. That's one thing I noticed, right? You don't learn, usually, this is why people learn from their own mistakes, right? Usually, when you tell your kid, hey, stop driving recklessly, it takes something almost happening for them to spook them, be like, oh, maybe I should listen to my parents. Maybe I should not be doing that. And this is what debates and public discussion would have done to many college kids, because that's how much in a bubble a lot of college students are in, especially if you're on the left. And you get shunned if you're a conservative. You feel fear of expressing your views as a conservative on a college campus because you know that is liberal home turf. You know that. But the college says, oh no, we're being objective. This is where you get challenged. This is where your ideas get challenged. If you're not a leftist, your ideas only gets challenged if you're not a leftist. If you're a leftist, your ideas never get challenged. They never talk. They always like to cry about white supremacy, but they don't complain about liberal supremacy, Marxist supremacy. And the most biggest communist socialists are people who work in college, in the college faculty, the college professors. They're the biggest socialists. And the one thing I realize about a lot of socialists, they only occupy fields where there's no demand to perform, right? There's no they always live in theoretical fields like journalism, academia. They get to live on theories because socialism is all about theories. They sell you the dream of socialism. Oh my God, it's going to be everyone. No one's going to go hungry. You can make a lot of money doing any field you want. But then the reality, the implementation. Oh, people don't want to work. Why? Because people feel like, yo, what's the point of being a doctor when I can make the same money being a janitor? No, we need doctors. Gun to your head. Socialism is slavery, bro. I don't care how much the left try to frame it. We work it. It's slavery. Socialism is slavery. You work, I eat. Hey, you should take care of my wounds. Okay, but I feel like, yo, I went through 12 years of school. I have to deal in a high stress, high demand, high pressure, high stress environment where if I make a mistake, you lose your life, and I only get paid the same as a janitor who all he has to do is mop the floor. How is that a fair deal? Does that sound fair? But socialists swear up and down that they're a better system than capitalism. Capitalism rewards you for the amount of input, the amount of value that you contribute to society. Oh, you work in a high stress, high demanding job. You have to stay up, 12 hours? Sometimes these doctors don't sleep, 24-hour shifts. Oh, we're going to pay you a lot of money to make it worth it for you to do that day in and day out. So you feel appreciated for the effort you put in for the betterment of society. That's what capitalism do. Socialism, like, no, you get the same thing as everyone else. Because what they say, every man needs, you get one according to your needs. Oh, you don't need that much money. You only need 50 grand. Spread the wealth around. Oh, I'm not going to bust my ass for no 50K. I ain't gonna stay 24 hours a day in these stressful situations, almost getting suicidal thoughts for 50K. I'm not gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna sleep out. I'm gonna sleep in the bed. I ain't gonna kill myself over this. It's not worth it. Value add. But healthcare should be free. Healthcare is a right. You don't have a right to force someone to give you a service that they don't want to provide. But socialism is not slavery. Okay.
More like a free speech liberal than 1970s, not a fascist.
But I just want to say Turning Point USA is a evil company that was funded by thousands of fracking companies, and that just...
No, it's not thousands, but we do have some frackers that give us money. But
yeah, and then all it is making the rich more rich.
Fascism to fracking.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Okay, again, I'm happy to have a debate. I can see you're getting kind of fired up.
I'm sorry.
So, but why are we evil? Like, we're having a nice discussion.
Because
all of a sudden you're calling me like
because
a fascist.
It seems like you just want the rich get even more rich. Like,
we haven't talked about the rich at all. I mean, so you don't even know my positions on this stuff at all. And by the way,
Dude,
just so we're clear, the wealthiest counties in the country all vote for Democrats. You know that, right? 8 out of 10 of the wealthiest counties in the country vote for Democrats. The wealthiest people, absent Elon Musk, are all on the left.
You see how his whole worldview just got bursted? This is our education system. And you wonder why we have the state of politics that we do today. Why people think that things that Kamala said is feasible and it's practical and it's actually attainable, why they fall for it and why they vote for her. Because they fall for the ish, because they've never been challenged on their ideas before. Charlie Kirk is a college dropout. This kid's attending college. And look at the difference. Self-education versus indoctrination versus the education system that we've been given. You're better off teaching yourself stuff, and you will learn more teaching yourself than learning it from a college professor. Because a college professor, it seems like, they're too busy wanting to push their views on their students and insulate them from alternative points of view. At least the bad ones. The politically motivated ones do that. And we wonder why, hey, the state of education, why education is so bad? And then the same liberals will get angry when conservatives want to disband the Department of Education because it's not serving. Like, this is not a good product. Look at what we were producing as a country. The movie Idiocracy. It was supposed to be a comedy. It was supposed to be satire. And our education system is literally going to make that a reality here in America. All because people on the left do not want people to do their own research. All because the people on the left controls these institutions, college, education system. The media, 94%, 96% of U.S. journalists are Democrat. Big tech. Majority of big tech employees donate to the Democratic Party. Liberal bias is everywhere. They don't like people who can critically think because critically thinking people are skeptical people. And skeptical people ask some questions that the liberals don't have answers for. But freedom of speech, but we don't like hate speech. And then hate speech is categorically, is conveniently categorized as anything that disagrees with a left-wing worldview. Climate change is an exaggerated problem. Oh, your climate change to dire. Climate change anxiety. Where the hell did that came from? You got to be taught about this stuff. Baffling to me.
Jeff Bezos, George Soros, Mark Benioff, Mark
Elon Musk on the
Zuckerberg, Laurene
left?
Powell Jobs. On the left, yes. The richer you are, the more likely you are to be a Democrat and on the left.
Explain that to me, please.
The numbers speak for itself. The Democrats are the party of the oligarchy. Can you name one tech CEO outside of Elon Musk that is a conservative?
This is the first real education he ever got. Because end of the day, like that's why I said this is my main critique about the education system, and then I'll continue the video. The main critique I have against the education system is that it's all about memorization, right? He's trying to remember stuff that he learned from the college professor, while Charlie Kirk is just thinking, okay, I'm applying information, I'm doing correlations, you're pulling from multiple disciplines. Hey, look, this is what I observe in reality. And all he has to do is pinpoint it. This is empirical. Empirical evidence. You can't argue with that. But he's trying to rationalize things. And this is the difference. Do we want more Charlie Kirks or more like this student? Charlie Kirk didn't go to school. He dropped out. He called college a scam. I have the book right here. College is a scam. Because he talks about the political ideology of many of the faculty members. How how college has become political in nature. How it's not educating people to think critically. It's indoctrinating people to take a certain worldview on things. If a black person says something racial against another person of another race, he's not perceived as racist because they have been conditioned to interpret things differently based on the color of your skin. If you're a white person, you say something racially charged against a black person, they'll call you racist. Even if the black person says something racially charged against you. This is why I'm tired of the race hustle. This is why I'm tired of identity politics. All because of the deception of the left.
I personally think. Let me think. Peter Thiel.
Yeah, that's one. That's one. Larry Page, Google, on the left, worth $120 billion. Sergey Brin, Google, $130 billion on the left. Lorene Jobs, Mackenzie Bezos, Jeff Bezos.
If they're on the left, what has they done that was like quote unquote to do the left stuff?
Well, okay, so Larry Page gives money to left-wing NGOs all the time.
Like, if you're on the left, I don't think you will ever be this rich.
Well, they are.
You see, he's rationalizing, but Charlie's showing proof. You trying to rationalize why that is? Oh, I don't think they'll be rich. Look at Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker is known as a socialist, but he's rich. Why he hasn't give away all his money to his followers? Because he's not a true socialist. He's a capitalist in disguise based on his actions. He's a capitalist selling you socialism. This is why he's losing followers. This is why he's not as engaged or whatever. I don't want to speak to the man because I don't listen to his stuff. But that's an example. Oh, people on the left wouldn't be that rich. That's an assumption you have that you can't validate in reality. When reality shows you that your theory is wrong, you must accept that your theory is wrong. This is the number one. Like when I hear people talk, that's like my ethos. Okay, whatever you assume, can you prove it and validate it in reality? Because I trust reality. I trust what I can observe, what I can touch, what I can feel, what I can see. Not what you have in your head. You're not going to convince me of your narrative. We suffer more from imagination than from reality. And this is what the left's biggest game is. They want you to suffer from imagination. Conservatives like, yo, look at the reality. We don't want to suffer from this reality. We got to make a practical choice. Our resources are finite. We can't take in all these illegal immigrants. We got to deport them because they're taking resources away from American people. The reality is our resources are finite. We don't have unlimited resources. But socialists like to pretend that we do. Socialists like to pretend that there's no cost to printing more money. There's no cost to give free healthcare, redistribute wealth. I'm tired of the deception. The left is a scam.
Why? Because
they're not.
No,
because they're not.
The left is a scam. The left uses
How
people.
is this?
Let me tell you why. It's a good question, actually. The left uses people like you that think that, oh, we're going to fight the rich. Well, they protect their oligarchy. While you guys have to keep on working hard and never own anything, when we conservatives are the ones that actually want to restore the American middle class and bring jobs back to this country.
How would you restore?
Let me finish. The left uses people like you every day, and they use people on you by the trans thing, the abortion thing. Keep voting for us because the fascists are going to take your rights away. When who's funding the left? The richest people.
Reality. What they got you voting on? An imagination, a narrative. Oh my God, fascist, racist. Oh, you got to vote against them. What he said that was racist. What proof you have of this? No. You got to believe our narrative. You got to vote based on a perception. Perception isn't reality. And this is the biggest problem the left has. The left believes perception is reality. My imagination of Trump is true, says the liberal. And the conservative says, I have not observed any of that behavior from Trump. How can you claim that he is this? How can you claim that Donald Trump's a fascist? He's not a socialist. How can you claim that? What exactly about him is a fascist? Conservatives tend to look for proof, observable proof that could be observed. Liberals like, no, we rationalize it. If it sounds plausible, you have to believe me. No. Is it probable? Big problem in our politics. And we wonder why we have the current state of our politics now.
George Soros. Do you know who George Soros is?
Who is funding? Dude, I have never seen a leftist organization come to campus spreading their propagandas?
Well, because the whole university is a leftist organization
No, it's
spreading
not.
propaganda.
It's liberal. There is a clear-cut difference between a leftist and a liberal. Please make
you're
that
coming
right.
after this in a good way because I'll just say Democrat politics, okay?
Okay.
Almost every major, powerful, wealthy person in the country, over $100 billion in net worth, with the exception of one person, Elon Musk, is on the cultural left and gives money to the left. Mark Zuckerberg gave $400 million in the 2020 election to help get Joe Biden reelected through the Center for Technology and Civic Life. Mackenzie Bezos.
That helps his case, obviously. He would donate money to his...
Oh, okay, but hold on. One second. Mackenzie Bezos with $45 billion, major Biden backer. Laurene Powell Jobs worth $20 billion. Steve Jobs' widow, one of the most radical left-wingers in the Emerson Collective. Mark Benioff from Salesforce worth $12 billion. One of the most radical left-wing guys that you'll see out there. The eBay guy, Omador, one radical left-wing. It's so important for you on the left. You guys are being scammed and gamed, because they talk a good game about building the middle class, but it is not the party of democracy. It's the party of oligarchy. And you can go fact check me tonight, and you might actually have cognitive dissonance. Type in this: wealthiest counties in the country. They almost all vote for Joe Biden. Who gives the most political donations to the left? All the wealthy people. Go look up the top billionaires on the Forbes list, the top 100. Only about 10 of them give the Republican, the other 80 give the Democrat, the other 10 don't give at all.
But we're gonna tax the rich. Yeah, right. Democrat Party ain't gonna do like this is the funny part. And this is the deception that they believe. And this is why they vote for Kamala Harris. They vote for all this symbolism. It's baffling to me. Democrat Party really is the party of an oligarchy. And they want to pretend. And that's the funny part is, you know how they always say liberal projection? They always project what they're doing onto the other party. It's true. Oh, they tax cut for the rich. But Democrats was the one that bailed out the banks in 2008 during the recession. I don't remember Republicans giving government the corporations bailouts. Yeah, they gave tax cuts, but the proof is in the pudding. Republicans cut taxes. They generate more tax revenue because there's more incentive for businesses and corporations to work to their maximum potential to maximize profits because they know they get to keep more of the money that they make because taxes are cut. It's baffling to me. People don't understand this. If the results show that, hey, taxing the rich will raise more money, how come the Democrat Party always have less tax revenue than the Republican Party? And the only Democrat to break this trend is JFK. And guess what JFK supported? Tax cuts for corporations. But taxing the rich. I also appreciate what you are doing with these podcasts and videos. I just found your channel the other day, and it's people like you that are saving our country blessings. Appreciate that, Ronald Snyder. I think that's how you say his name. I appreciate you, Ronald. I want to talk about mass immigration. It's the same video. I skipped a little bit of head. And for the last 3 minutes, I want to focus on this video, and then I'll wrap it up with my final thoughts.
I think that generally supporting entrepreneurs is positive, but I think that mass immigration is really bad for American workers.
There's no mass immigration.
Well, first of all, how many people are... Wow. Well, you're right. There is mass invasion, but how many people are coming across the southern border every day?
I don't know, but
No, I'm actually genuinely curious. Can you guess?
Okay.
First, look at the arrogance in his voice. He said there's no mass immigration problem, but he doesn't even know the number. How can you be sure something doesn't exist when you don't even know the actual number of the... Like, make it make sense. It's like someone saying, oh, I was born October 4th. No, you wasn't. Okay, when I was born? I don't know. And how you can say I wasn't born, bro? Like, it's the same argument. It's baffling to me, right? Honestly, who's at fault for our state of our politics today, man? He's going to college. This is supposed to be our best and brightest people. And he's giving answers like he's a high school kid. Still trying to figure out how the world is. I digress.
On what time frame?
Every day.
Every day? 500?
Yeah. It's at its low point, it's at 10,000 right now. It was 15,000 last month. So what does that annualize? Let's play that out.
A lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's mass immigration, right? How many green cards do we give out every year?
probably a lot.
Yeah, a lot. About 1.2 million,
Well,
right?
what's wrong with giving out green cards?
I'm not saying anything wrong. No, you said there's no mass migration. So I'm just
Okay.
trying to tell you, we do have mass migration, right?
Okay.
We have 3 million on the southern border, and then we have 1 million green cards, right? That's 4 million a year, right? Which is basically bigger than most U.S. states. Now, everything comes with a cost. When you have mass migration, you're going to get lower wages. But that means you're going to disenfranchise American workers. What are you?
I think another part, like who's at fault for politics, is the idea that many people don't understand opportunity cost and trade-offs. There's no perfect solutions in this world, only trade-offs. I think that's the biggest problem because people think we can do something without any cost. You can't buy a car without losing money. There's a cost for everything. There's a cost for every decision you do, right? There's a cause and effect. Like it's like we don't understand this, and then for some reason, these concepts do not apply in politics. People don't think these concepts apply in politics. Oh wait, we can just open these people with open arms. Yes, but they're going to take resources. They're going to be a burden on the system. Majority of these illegals are on welfare. You already see it in New York. A black woman just finished crying on viral TikTok about how she got her business bought out by an illegal immigrant who couldn't even speak English, who didn't have a credit score, who didn't even have any money, but the government was going to help her out. That's resources getting taken away from other people that it could have gone to. Opportunity cost. This is why I say we have to be more practical as a nation, but that is something that has to be pushed in our education system. This is why I say, it's neck and neck. Media is supposed to bring awareness to these problems, but they don't. Education is supposed to inform you about history, your knowledge. It's supposed to instill critical thinking, accurate information that you could therefore use to evaluate information that you get in the future. Pretty much, education is supposed to arm you to help yourself. Learning how to learn. And then the voters themselves have to be curious enough to do the research, to look for the information, to read some books. Read some books. Be armed with some information to help push back against this narrative. And then the government itself has to be about its people first, not about their own interests. But it takes the American people to keep the government in check. The Founding Fathers warned us about the government. The Founding Fathers says that if the people are not vigilant, the government will become like a wolf. And right now, the government is a wolf. We got record inflation and people still considering voting Democrat. If that don't tell you what they're doing is working, I don't know what is. That's why like the trust in the media is in an all-time low. Only Democrats still trust the legacy media. But the Democrats control Hollywood, journalism, college system, and they all trust the media. It's like a bubble. They took over the institute. It's just like with this. It's just like the Communist Manifesto. Get yourself in these positions of power. Once you get control of these institutions, you leverage the institutions to control the masses. He who controls the he who controls the children controls the future. And you wonder why socialists in the 1950s said that you may not vote in socialism, but your great grandkids will vote in socialism. And by the time you even realize it, you already will be living in socialism. Don't you feel like we're living in socialism? Because the immigrants are getting everything. They're getting EBT cards. They didn't even pay a single cent. We're being used like tax slaves. They take our money that we work hard for. They tax us, and then they give that money instead of working for our benefit, instead of working for our interest. They use it to work for their interest. And they give it to the illegals, like some type of a reverse Robin Hood. The government is acting like Robin Hood. They take from us and give to the illegals. Make it make sense. Not a single dime contributed by the illegal immigrants, but they're getting all these benefits. For what? What benefit do they have? They give more political power for the Democratic Party, for these sanctuary cities, in these blue states, giving them more power in the electoral college. This is why they was against the Republicans from passing the bill that would restrict the census to only count American citizens. Actions speak louder than words. Don't look at what these Democrats say. You look at what they do. Oh my God, they're for the rich. The Republicans are for the rich, but how come all the richest people vote Democrat, donate Democrat, associate with Democrat, push Democrat agendas? Action. But I digress.
Are you studying computer science?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so you're an American born, I'm guessing, American raised? I don't want to
I
assume.
wasn't, but
okay.
I moved to the U.S.
Okay, well, you're an American now, I guess. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
Or you're
I
on a
am.
Student visa? Okay, you're going to now have to compete. You're kind of proving my point, but that's a separate issue. You're now going to have to compete against foreign labor for your computer science jobs. I think we have a moral obligation to American-born workers to give them preference and priority and restrict the labor supply so that our computer science majors can have higher wages, not to have suppressed wages so some tech CEO can bring in a bunch of Indians and suppress their... No, not
And see, that's what kind of makes me a libertarian, not a libertarian, a conservative over a libertarian is the fact that, yeah, laissez-faire, like, yo, free market capitalism, all this stuff, but it almost gives like it gave way to consumerism because we see how bad consumerism is. We just finished going through a video where we see all these people making bad financial decisions due to consumerism, and that benefits laissez-faire capitalism, right? It benefits laissez-faire capitalism, right? You got a lady, she got Shakespeare, she takes Shakespeare, and she expects to make a living off that. Like, make it make sense. Right. And then I think I want to wrap it. I'm gonna wrap up this live stream. I think I've been going at it an hour and 45 minutes. So I asked the question at the end of this podcast. Who do you hold most at fault for the state of our politics today? The education system, the American voters, the government, the media. So far, my money's on the media. The media, yo, Malcolm X had the media on his side. The media is the most dangerous entity in the world. It can make the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. Right? Oh my God, look, these people are so evil. Look how the media covered Trump. If you just came on, if you look back, the media 2011 loved Trump. Trump's saying the exact same ish he's saying right now in 2024. But their perception was different because they weren't taught how they're supposed to react to what Trump has to say. Oh, if you list out crime statistics that paint black people in a negative light, that's racist. The media pushes out in the world, continues pushing it out in the world, right? Socialists always said that if you repeat a lie long enough, people will believe it to be true. And now people have a reaction when you say something unflattering about black people, they feel uncomfortable. Oh my God, isn't this feels racist? Because they've been conditioned by the media, but also by education. Because in a way, media is kind of like education. Because at the end of the day, if you're not exposed to information that goes counter to a narrative, for instance, climate change, has the mainstream media ever put out an advocate against climate change and why climate change is an exaggerated problem, why climate change isn't good? The only way you'll find alternative viewpoints about climate change is online, on the internet. But the mainstream media won't have two people on opposing sides of the issue debated out. No, they can't have that. But the education system is supposed to teach you stuff that the media won't teach you. But it almost seems like it's a cabal because if you see the teachers' unions, they all vote Democrat. The Department of Education overwhelmingly donate to the Democratic Party, registered Democrats, right? So Democrats have political dominance in the education system, in the mainstream media. U.S. journalists, 97% of them are Democrat. There's Democrat dominance in big tech. Trying to, like, yo, you see it. You see the game. You see the play. You're like, wow. So this is why I say self-education. You have to teach yourself a lot of this stuff. You have to look for the information yourself. This is why the left-wing media, they'll say doing your own research will lead to disinformation. Doing your own, I'm going to search it up right now. Own research. Bear with me for a bit. See, look. Misinformation review. Support. Doing your own research is associated with COVID-19 misconceptions and scientific mistrust. Oh my God, we can't have you questioning the experts now. The media does this to you, right? Baffling to me, right? Doing your own research is a good way to end up being a conspiracy theorist. End up being wrong. So what? You live and you learn. This brainwashed college student didn't do any research, and he couldn't make a single substantive point against Charlie Kirk. For me, it's a neck and neck, but I agree. I think it's the media. The media, I think, in my opinion, is the main one at fault for the state of our current political politics in 2028. But I digress. Appreciate you guys watching to the end. If you are watching this on a replay, I'd like to let you know your thoughts about what you believe was the biggest factor of who's at fault for the state of our politics right now in 2028. I ask you all to like the video on your way out. I appreciate you all. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll catch you guys next week. Peace.